getting what they're giving because I'm working for a living.
This is the Check a Pro Radio Show, sponsored by checkapro.com. To find pre-qualified local service providers, click on checkapro.com. Here's your host, the man with a hard hat and tool belt, Jim Clouk.
Hey, that is me. I am Check a Pro Joe. I love what I do. Here on the radio, I get to help you, my listeners, each and every week find the best contractors here in the greater LA area. In a moment, I'm going to be introducing my good friend Eli from Fleetwell Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. We're going to be talking about your heating and your air conditioning system. This time of year, we're not so sure if we're going to need the heat or the AC, and in many cases, we may need to use both in any given day. Without further ado, my good friend Eli. How you doing, buddy?
Jim, thank you for having me again. Nice to hear you.
Hey, it's so great to have you here on the program. I get all excited because what you and I do for our listeners every week is educate them on their HVAC system, their heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. A lot of people take it for granted. They go to the thermostat and they hit 72, 74, whatever number they want, and expect it to cool or heat their home accordingly. Every once in a while, it doesn't work, or it doesn't work like it should work, or something smells musty, something's making noise. Their utility bills have gone up. They get hot and cold spots in their home, and now they're saying to themselves, I guess I really don't know much about my heating and air conditioning system. And that's where you come in at Fleetwell. And thank you again for joining me today here on the program.
Absolutely, man.
So I had mentioned as I opened up the program, heating and cooling this time of year. Sometimes in the morning we wake up after a cool evening and say, hey, it's kind of brisk in here. Let's crank up the heat for a while. And then in the afternoon, it may be warm enough to put the AC on. Is it safe to be running both, within a 24-hour period? Are we supposed to be running our air conditioning and heating system during a day?
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The other day I was joking around with a buddy of mine, and I'm like, this time of year, it feels like fall or winter between the hours of 5 to 8. You're heading out of the house with a coat or a jacket, and then as soon as the sun starts to come out, you take off that coat, and throughout the day you could be fine. I mean, mid 70s, and then soon as 5 or 6 o'clock comes around, you're back to a jacket again. And so, of course, different parts of LA are going to feel it a little bit heavier, but overall, this fall, we're especially seeing that where it can get cold in the morning and nice during the afternoon, and then pretty chilly at night, especially.
We all have nice homes, or we think we do. This was a great time of life. We've never had better technology, better equipment, whether it's our cars or flying in an airplane or our air conditioning and heating system. And so we expect to have the perfect climate in our homes. I've got a special offer. Actually, Eli has brought the special offer to you, my listeners, here on the Check a Pro Radio Show today. I'd like you to listen up, everybody, because for just $19.95, which I cannot believe this deal. Thank you so much, Eli, for bringing this to the program. For just $19.95, you are going to get what Eli calls a first-time out system tune-up. That means if you're not a customer of Fleetwell, you are going to get, for $19.95, a first-time out system tune-up for your heating and air conditioning system. It's ordinarily $149. That's a savings of $129. But wait, there's more. I love saying that because Eli and his team at Fleetwell are also going to throw in a free HVAC inspection. That's a value of $95. I had asked him in the past about his club membership. I'm like, hey, my listeners deserve to be covered all year round with your Fleetwell Club membership. You're going to give that for free. It's $225 a year. The first year free, $225 off, no charge, and then a bonus because I always ask for more. And I've asked for a lot here. And this is the last thing I'm asking you for, Eli, and I appreciate it. And that is a free duct inspection to the first 10 callers today. There's a hook. $19.95. That's all it is. And the reason why Eli and Fleetwell want to do this for you, my listeners, is they want to have you as a new customer of Fleetwell. I trust them. Check them out at checkapro.com. Insurance, licenses, references, bunch of good guys. I wouldn't have Eli on my program if he wasn't. $638 worth of services here. $638 for $19.95. Only 10 of my listeners are going to get this, and these will go quickly throughout this hour show. Call now, 213-817-5737. I'm going to give out the number again in a moment. Only $19.95, not $149. You're going to get a free HVAC inspection worth $95, and you're going to get the Fleetwell Club membership. That means you're going to be a priority customer. You're going to get discounts. That's ordinarily $225 a year. That is free, and your ducts inspected for free. $638 value for just $19.95 today. It's a special Check a Pro radio show offer. Call right now, 213-817-5737. Again, a little slower because I know you're driving out there, or you might be going from the garage or the garden or somewhere to write this down. Don't write it down. Put it in your phone and call now, 213-817-5737. If you're not one of the lucky 10 callers today, put the phone number in your phone anyway, because you're going to want to call when you have a problem with your heating or air conditioning system. Eli, did I miss anything in that offer?
Jim, you nailed it. You provided everything and did it in a beautiful way as always.
There's just a lot there, and I want to apologize to everybody listening. When I have a guest on the show who has been checked out by me at Check a Pro, which means we check insurance, licenses, and references, I trust them. I'd have them in my home, and I ask them for the best possible deal so my listeners can experience Fleetwell at only $19.95. This offer is not found on Fleetwell's website, on any direct mail piece, any promotion, marketing, or advertising that they have. It's only here because I demand it. 213-817-5737 is the phone number. All you need is $19.95. Check, credit card, probably cash. Not many people use that anymore. It's $19.95. Go to your coffee can in the kitchen and dump it out. It's not much money. Call now. This is awesome. You want to make sure that your system is tuned up, especially if you go into the cooler weather. This time of year, it's been a while since we had the heat on, and you want to get it checked out. $19.95. The phone number at Fleetwell Air Conditioning and Heating is 213-817-5737. If it's hard to get through, keep trying. When the calls come in from the radio, it gets crazy over at Eli's office. But don't worry, you'll be put in the queue, in line, on the phone. 213-817-5737. Eli, I want to talk a little bit about hot and cold spots. We hear that a lot. People have a nice home. Let's say it's a one-level home. And in the wintertime, one room is always colder than the rest, so the other ones heat up pretty well. But that guest room is always cold. And in the summertime, that guest room is always hotter than the rest of the home, which is being cooled well. What might be going on with a hot and cold spot in someone's home?
So that's a great question. And if I had to say, it's probably the most commonly asked question. So the air ducts that deliver air to the different rooms in your house all have different sizes. And the way they're run is most homes have flexible air ducts. So if you'd imagine just a pipe that is turning left, right, going up, down, depending on how it was originally designed, it could be pulling a lot of friction. And that friction could make it reduce airflow to the different rooms. Another thing is sometimes people get rodents in the attic. I know my wife and I could be in bed and hear a little tiptoeing upstairs. So we know we have a rat. They like to nibble on insulation. They like to tear out those air ducts. And what ends up happening is you have air seepage. And also, air ducts that were installed over 10 years ago were installed using tape. 20 years ago, it was duct tape. And so tape loses its elasticity over time. And then you develop small holes that can actually be the size of the basketball. So you're doing two things. You're refrigerating or heating your attic because you have air seepage. And depending on how the air ducts are designed, it may create such a restriction that you're getting such poor airflow because it's not a direct shot. It's going around like a roller coaster.
It's so important to have a technician from Fleetwell come out to your home and take a look at things. For $19.95, it's just a ridiculously low price to have someone come out and check out the hot and cold spots. Make sure things are balanced properly. Take a look at the thermostat. Make sure the thermostat is working properly, shutting off and on how it's supposed to. Also checking the system. A lot of systems today have many speeds. Older ones may not. That could be an issue. I will tell you, though, the music has come up in my ear, and that means Jerry is taking us to commercial. So we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Checka Pro Radio Show. Stand by.
Dennis Prager here. Just go to checkapro.com. You'll find names, phone numbers, affiliations, and license numbers, everything you need to feel confident about hiring a contractor and getting your project done right. Checkapro.com.
Hey, it's Jim Clouk, a.k.a. Checka Pro Joe here. I have a phenomenal special offer from my good friend Eli, the HVAC guy, over at Fleetwell Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, Eli and the team at Fleetwell are offering you, my listener, a complete heating and AC tune-up for just $19.95. That's right. You'll save $129 off the regular price. And it gets even better. The first 20 callers will receive a free 1-year membership in Fleetwell's exclusive club. That's a $225 value, absolutely free. You get priority service, discounts, and peace of mind all year long. But you've got to call now. Call Fleetwell Heating and Air Conditioning today, 213-817-5737. That's 213-817-5737. You know this deal won't last long, so pick up the phone and call now, 213-817-5737. Fleetwell Heating and Air, fast, friendly, and always available.
I'm taking what they're giving because I'm working for a living.
This is the Checka Pro Radio Show, sponsored by CheckaPro.com. To find pre-qualified local service providers, click on CheckaPro.com. Here's your host, the man with a hard hat and tool belt, Jim Clouk.
And thank you very much. I love doing what I do here on the radio each and every week, educating my listeners on home improvement. And today I've got a special guest. His name is Eli from Fleetwell Air Conditioning and Heating. We're talking about your HVAC system and why it's important to have it maintained, tuned up, and also possibly replaced. And we'll be talking about that as well in the program, because I know some of you are tuned in and are thinking, well, I just don't need to have a tune-up. I think I need a brand new system. It's like a car. You're like, do I want to get my car tuned up, Eli, or do I want a brand new car? And I know, Eli, you can help people with a brand new system, can't you?
Absolutely. If it's past the point of no return, sometimes it doesn't make sense. And, going a brand new route's definitely the way to go.
For just $19.95, Eli and his team will come out and do a first-time out system tune-up. You'll also get an HVAC inspection, the total heating and air conditioning and ventilation system inspection, which also includes a duct inspection. And you're going to get, which I think is fantastic. This is really the golden piece of the value here, I believe. Ordinarily $225, the Fleetwell Club membership free for 1 year. You're going to save, over $600. This is a $638 value package for your heating and air conditioning system for just $19.95. My crack producer, Jerry, he tells me that out of the 10, there's only 7 of these offers left. That means 3 people have taken advantage of it. Here is the phone number. Call now, 213-817-5737. Again, the phone number, only 7 of these offers left. It's just $19.95. You got to call now, though. It's not available after the show. It's not available on Fleetwell's website or any other marketing materials. Call now, 213-817-5737. Eli, Tony has emailed in to Joe at checkapro.com That's Joe at checkapro.com. We get emails. If you have a question, you can email it in. Tony emailed, should I get a smart thermostat? Well, that's to the point. I suggest yes. Doesn't everyone have one now, or do some people still have the old manual ones?
So it comes down to personal preference. Smart thermostats I personally like because we have 2 dogs at the house, and occasionally if my wife and kids are heading out and we forgot to turn on the AC on a hot day, then we can just go onto our smartphone, set the temperature, and be good. We don't need to turn all the way back and head home. That's mainly what we use it for. Besides that, I personally like to just set the temperature. If I know it's going to be a hot day, I set it to 74, 75, what we like to keep the house at, and let it do its thing. You don't want to turn on the thermostat when your house is already scorching hot and it's 80 degrees, and now you need to fight to get such a big temperature difference. So comes down to personal preference, but for that reason, I like the smart thermostat.
I have had a smart thermostat. My wife and I have had a smart thermostat on both of our units for 12 years now. So these aren't new. Now, there are newer ones, and I still have the original ones, but they're fine. It's a Honeywell product, actually. Okay, I'll say it's a good product. No matter where I am in the world, I can pull out my smartphone and I can see what the temperature is inside my house. Actually, the app will tell me what the temperature is outside my house. And I can, like you said, change the temperature. I like what you did say a few moments ago. This is so critical, especially with air conditioning, not as much with heat, especially here in the LA area, because it's easier to heat a house and cool it. When you are considering turning your air conditioning off or raising that thermostat up, you are going to make that thing work so hard to get it back down to where you want it. So let's say you like 72 degrees. Oh, that's a real nice temperature. But you put it up to 80. All day long, you're at work, you come home, and then you decide, well, I don't want it at 80 anymore. I'm home. I want it to 72. To drop those 8 degrees at the end of the day in our climate, that's brutal on the system. You're going to spend a lot of utility power. It's going to cost you a lot, and it's going to really make the system work more. It's kind of like if you're cruising in a car, Eli, and you're on a flat surface and you're heading toward a hill. Now you decide to slow down, stop at the bottom of the hill, and now press the gas. Whoa, what about all that momentum you had? You just stopped it. And I think that's a good analogy. You want to keep this system going. It might seem counterintuitive, right? Well, I don't want it running all the time. Trust me, something in motion should stay in motion. And if it doesn't, you're looking for trouble.
Absolutely. And one important thing to remember is I love using car analogies because it's something we all have. It's something we all relate to. We all heard of the term highway miles and city miles. You can think of it the same exact way. When an air conditioner starts up, it's using the most amount of electricity on startup. So it's taking everything it's got, and it's got a starter kit, it's got the compressor. When the unit's running, well, it still uses energy, but the amount of energy is significantly dropped because while it's in motion, like we're saying, it just coasts. And so we can think of it the same exact way as our vehicles.
Yeah, exactly. And you shouldn't try to save money or wear and tear on your heating and air conditioning system, especially the air conditioning system. The heating system, a little different, I will tell you that. But the air conditioning system has a lot of parts, and it takes the heat out of the air, which is hard. It's just a different system. Heating is actually a little more simple. It's heating the air. So you want to make sure you're not constantly starting. I'll give an example, Eli, and a lot of people will understand this. Some people's lights will dim just a little bit, or maybe a lot if their electrical system is old, when the air conditioning system cranks up. That means it's drawing a lot. Not only is it drawing a lot, it's really putting a lot of wear and tear in those few seconds on your system. But if it's not off, your lights don't dim. It just keeps going. and it doesn't pull as much power, and your system, the compressor's not under stress. It's kind of like you're more likely to get a heart attack when you stress your body. Your system's more likely to break under those conditions.
Absolutely. And so this is very common. I mean, our logic tells us, like you said earlier, if I don't need the system right now, why run it and why waste all that energy? Well, it's not about needing it right now. It's about knowing that it's going to be hot, and for the air conditioner to work under 70 or 75 degrees earlier in the morning, it's much easier to maintain that and have it fight a 2 or 3 degree difference than a 8 or 10 degree difference under a lot of heat. Because remember, when it's 100 degrees outside, or like say right now, it's, there's days where we're in the high 80s, it's already hot. That compressor internally is over 100 degrees. Those are the moments when the unit breaks down. Those are the moments where, without preventative maintenance, the unit's running hot and you're stretching it to its boiling point. That's when the unit will actually give out.
Yeah. And when it gives out, that is not when you want to give Eli and Fleetwell a call. You want to call them right now for just $19.95. By the way, you're going to save $129 on this tune-up for $19.95. You're going to save $95 on the HVAC inspection. You're going to save $225 on the Fleetwell Club membership and the duct inspection, $189, because that is free as well. $638 value for just $19.95. Call now to get your system tune-up, your ducts inspected, and your Fleetwell Club membership. Call right now. Jerry tells me there are only 5 of these left. Call now, 213-817-5737. Again, 213-817-5737. So we're halfway through these. There were 10, now there's 5. If you weren't able to get the phone number because you're driving, don't worry. We'll be giving the phone number out again soon, so hopefully you'll be pulled over at that time. The phone number, 213-817-5737. Eli, you were talking earlier about rats and rodents, and you were talking about ductwork and so forth. But, rats and rodents can be a big problem inside the air conditioning and heating system. They love wires. They can actually cause a fire. Now, I'm not trying to alarm people, but if you do have rodents, you need to get a pest control company up there. But this is also something you will identify when you're looking at the systems, correct?
Absolutely. So when we look at your unit for preventative maintenance, we're doing a deep dive and looking at every single aspect of not just the equipment, but also the ductwork and everything surrounding it. Since everything influences each other, it's important to know that the ductwork goes hand in hand with your furnace and with the air conditioner. So just to kind of segue a little, HVAC, a lot of people don't know what that stands for. So heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And when you turn on your air conditioning unit, you're operating the furnace as well. The heater portion of it is off, but the fan motor inside of it is what's moving air across. And so when we're there, it's important because rat droppings makes, it's a poison. It makes people sick. And we want to make sure that rodents are far, far away from your unit.
And they can be a problem depending upon where you live and how diligent you are in keeping rodents out. And rats and mice are everywhere, and they're dirty animals. A lot of people are sensitive to allergens from rats and mice. As a matter of fact, there have been some recent cases where I've heard in the media that some people have actually died from exposure to mice and rat feces, which I think is a rare thing. But it's really kind of disgusting when you think about it. And you had said something where you're laying in bed and you hear these scratches above you. and I know the feeling. And I'll tell you one way to know if you do have a rodent problem is when they die, you know they've died. It stinks. It is horrible. We're going to take a quick break, but before we do that, I'm going to give out the phone number again. For just $19.95, Call right now to get your system tuned up, to get your Fleetwell Club membership for free, and to get your duct inspection as well. 213-817-5737. Again, 213-817-5737. Eli and I'll be right back right after this, right here on Check A Pro Radio. Stand by.
This is Sebastian Gorka. If you're looking for a quality home service provider, log on to checkapro.com. That's checkapro.com.
Hey, it's Jim Clouk, a.k.a. Check A Pro Joe here. I have a phenomenal special offer from my good friend Eli, the HVAC guy, over at Fleetwell Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, Eli and the team at Fleetwell are offering you, my listener, a complete heating and AC tune-up for just $19.95. That's right. You'll save $129 off the regular price. And it gets even better. The first 20 callers will receive a free 1-year membership in Fleetwell's exclusive club. That's a $225 value absolutely free. You get priority service, discounts, and peace of mind all year long. But you've got to call now. Call Fleetwell Heating and Air Conditioning today. 213-817-5737. That's 213-817-5737. You know this deal won't last long, so pick up the phone and call now. 213-817-5737. Fleetwell Heating and Air, fast, friendly, and always available.
This is the Check A Pro Radio Show, sponsored by checkapro.com. What are the latest services, products, and techniques? The pros check in here. Here's your host, the man with a hard hat and tool belt, Jim Clouk.
And that is me. Thank you so much. My name is Jim Clouk, a.k.a. Check A Pro Joe. I've been doing this on the radio now for 20 years, started back in 2005, and I love what I do. I help my listeners in my local community find pre-qualified home service professionals, and I have one here in Eli from Fleetwell. Eli, it's so great to have you here, my friend.
Jim, thank you for having me again. Always a pleasure to be dealing with you.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I trust you and your team, and I think you know that. We've talked about this before, off the air and on the air, about how picky I can be. I'm kind of a tough guy, aren't I? Kind of a tough character. It's okay. I know you don't think so, but you know what I mean. I expect greatness from everyone here on the show.
That's what I love about you, Jim. A lot of people today hold the standard to such a minimum. So when you challenge us, I mean, we love it. We love a good challenge.
Yeah, well, here's another challenge for you. Cindy writes into Joe at checkapro.com here at the radio show. This one is for you, Eli, this question. How can I save money on my utility bills as it pertains to my heating and air conditioning systems? And we've talked a little bit about this, but what are some key points that if people weren't going to call you today to come out, what could they do themselves to maybe save some money?
Absolutely. So I'm going to start with the heating portion of it first. When you're using an old furnace, and old, I'll call anything over about 10 years is considered old and inefficient. In most parts of California, gas as a utility is less expensive than electric. And so if you're noticing a high gas bill, you most likely have what we call a single stage gas valve. And when you're operating an older furnace, the gas needs to stay on longer for you to get heat. Some people sleep with the heater on, some people sleep with the heater off. It all comes down to personal preference and how cold you get. But a way to save, on that utility is instead of running the heater throughout the night or, when it starts to get really cold, right before you get to, let's call it, I would say 8, 9 o'clock, turn on the heater for about 10, 15 minutes, get the house nice and toasty, and just keep your doors closed, keep the windows closed. And so you don't need to run it through the entire evening. That'll at least kind of break the chill and throw on some blankets, throw on a big sweatshirt, and that should do it, at least on the heater side of things. On the air conditioner side, it's it's a totally different story, and it follows the same idea really. We we want to we want to maintain temperature, and if the unit's having to work hard at peak heat hours and it's working continuously to try to get the temperature down, set your thermostat for a higher degree, 78 degrees, which depending on the day can still feel a little stuffy and warm, but keep it at 78. And while you're turning it on, don't turn it on in the middle of the afternoon when it's scorching hot outside. Keep it at, right about 8, 9 o'clock before the heat actually comes in. And so that way your compressor isn't needing to work as hard. Those are the two big things that'll save on your utility bills, because the idea is we want to use the unit during hours where it's not going to draw a lot from the unit. And so the idea is use it when the weather isn't that bad, and try to keep that temperature by keeping the doors closed and that sort of thing. That'll work great.
Great advice. I've got some advice for my listeners right now, and that is to call right now to get your $19.95. $19.95. These numbers look like they're from 1976. My goodness. $19.95 to get your first-time system tune-up, and you will also get your entire HVAC system inspected. You'll be part of the Fleetwell Club membership. That's worth $225 a year. You'll get that free, and you're going to get a free duct inspection. $638 worth of freebies, just $19.95. Only 10 of my listeners are going to get this. Jerry tells me that there are only 2 of these left. So 8 are gone. You must call right now. 213-817-5737. There's really no obligation other than $19.95. But even if you call 213-817-5737 at Fleetwell, you don't have to necessarily make that appointment. Just call, talk to the customer service representative. They will explain everything and book an appointment. 213-817-5737. Even if your air conditioning and heating system is relatively new, but you don't understand it, for $19.95 to have Eli and his team come out from Fleetwell to go through the system and explain it to you, that's a huge value. And they may find something that needs to be looked at, because just because it's a new system and another company put it in or the builder put it in doesn't mean it was done right. There are horror stories out there, especially with builders. They just want to get the house built and done. They're using contractors to slap these in. The builder is not living in the home. They just want to sell the home, and they hope that for the first year during the warranty, there are no problems. Call Eli and his team now, 213-817-5737. Eli, something that comes up a lot, especially in the summertime here in the greater LA area, is the system doesn't keep up. And so this isn't so much the heating. We've talked about both heating today and air conditioning, but I know people have this problem and they're hoping that they're not going to have to worry about it until the heat of the summer again next year. But that is, they may be low on refrigerant. And when they're low on refrigerant, the system may run and not cool or pull the humidity out because it doesn't have what it needs. There could be a pinhole leak.
Absolutely. And if I had to say the most commonly asked question related to air conditioning, it comes down to refrigerant. A lot of customers think they need the refrigerant topped off and that they need to do this continually. Well, that's just a myth, or maybe a previous repairman led you to believe that. You can think of refrigerant as almost like blood in your arteries and veins. It circulates through the entire system. It doesn't go out into the air. It doesn't dissipate. It stays in that system forever. You never need to replace or recharge your unit for 10, 20 years. The only time that you would need to do that is if there's a leak somewhere. You mentioned a pinhole leak. That could be either on the copper line, could be on the outdoor unit, or it could be on what we call your indoor coil, which the outdoor unit connects to. And so when we source that, we determine where it is. If it's repairable, we'll offer repair solutions. And then that way, when we recharge it, we know it's not just coming out the other end. It's like filling up air in a tire and you got 3 nails on it and that air comes right out the second you leave the gas station.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so you're 100% correct. It's a closed system. And years ago, you don't see this as much anymore, but years ago, you would see people pulled over at the gas station. They used to call them service stations because people had them serviced all the time. Cars were always leaking things. And you'd see people pulled over on the side of the freeway, and they'd be putting oil in their car. We don't see that a lot anymore. I can't remember the last time I put oil and topped off oil. But you know who I'm talking about, the people who have a leaky oil issue in their car or truck because you don't want them parking in your driveway or in front of your home. It's irritating. And it's not supposed to leak, right? Those gaskets and seals are not supposed to leak. Isn't it the same type of thing? Yes, you will go through some oil, little different, but really the oil you put in 6,000 miles ago in the oil change should still be in the car.
Absolutely. I mean, oil is the lubricant of your entire car engine, right? So I mean, when you have no oil, hopefully, you're with cars today, it notifies you got to, get your oil changed. But when you have no oil, all the lubricants go out, stops working, and your motor seizes.
And it's a big problem. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't have any fluids in your automobile leaking out. They might need to be replaced over time, whether it could be a power steering or transmission, whatever, radiator with antifreeze. These things aren't supposed to leak out. Neither is your air conditioning system. That doesn't mean that you can't have it topped off until that part comes in, because maybe the coil isn't available today. So Eli and his team might say, you know what, to make things comfortable, we'll top it off. This might be good for a week or so, and we'll get the part because we don't have it in, we have to order, right? It's under warranty maybe. And then you bring in, let's say, the coil, because the coil's often the problem. Not always. They don't make them like they used to, those coils. In that instance, you may top it off, right? Just to get by.
Absolutely. Topping it off, there's nothing wrong with that. That just ensures that we buy ourselves another week or two until, the homeowners are ready and hopefully the part's ready to go ahead and get that replaced.
Yeah, really quickly here, Frank sends in an email to me at joe@checkapro.com. And this is an important question, and it comes up a lot, I'm sure, with you, Eli. Is it really important to replace my air filters? I know the answer. The answer is yes, right?
So it's more than that. Well, of course, the answer is yes, but I always like for people to understand why, right? Because before I got into the trade, when you told me you needed to replace your air filter, I'm like, all right, okay, well, when I have time and, when I notice that it's really dirty, then I'll do it. But here's the thing. When you don't replace your air filters in time, you're actually getting your system to work under a lot of strain. And so you're wearing down all the components inside. So you want to make sure that your system, it runs a lot easier. That's one of the biggest things, aside from, making sure your air is clean, of course.
Absolutely great answer. Get your filters changed. And when Eli and his team come out, they're going to take a look at that as well. The phone number, 213-817-5737. Call now, only $19.95 to get your system checked out. We'll be right back right after this. Stay tuned.
If you want to get a home improvement project done, but you don't know who to call, I can help. This is Dave Ramsey. Don't call. Log on to checkapro.com.
Hey, it's Jim Cloug, a.k.a. Check a Pro Joe here. I have a phenomenal special offer from my good friend Eli, the HVAC guy, over at Fleetwell Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, Eli and the team at Fleetwell are offering you, my listener, a complete heating and AC tune-up for just $19.95. That's right. You'll save $129 off the regular price. And it gets even better. The first 20 callers will receive a free 1-year membership in Fleetwell's exclusive club. That's a $225 value, absolutely free. You get priority service, discounts, and peace of mind all year long. But you've got to call now. Call Fleetwell Heating and Air Conditioning today, 213 213-817-5737. That's 213-817-5737. You know this deal won't last long, so pick up the phone and call now. 213-817-5737. Fleetwell Heating and Air, fast, friendly, and always available.
Do you have a question for Checkapro Joe? Email Joe at checkapro.com. This is the Checkapro Radio Show.
And for those of you who have pulled over to a safe place, maybe you've gotten back home or you're sitting in the parking lot at your favorite store, here is Eli's number at Fleetwell. Only a couple of these offers left. Just $19.95 for a complete system tune-up for your HVAC system, including the Fleetwell Club membership, which is good for 1 year. And I'm going to ask Eli in a moment what that entails because there's all kinds of discounts and priorities. Here's the phone number, 213-817-5737. You've got to call now. This offer is not available anywhere else on the web, in your mailbox, or even on a billboard. It's only available here on my show because I really shake down my guests. And I grabbed Eli by his ankle, flipped him upside down. The pennies and nickels fell out of his pocket. And I said, well, that's good enough then, because I want to make sure my listeners are getting the best deal. $638 in heating and air conditioning service value here from a respected company here in our area, in the greater Los Angeles area. It's Fleetwell Air Conditioning and Heating, 213-817-5737. 213-817-5737. All right, so I want to get into the Fleetwell Club membership. We keep talking about it and how great it is. I know that there's priority for my listeners when they get this membership for free today. I also know they're going to get some discounts. What does it entail, Eli?
If you could think of an entire X-ray of your body, this is how I would describe a full performance tune-up. So we're going through every single nook and cranny of your unit. We're looking at your gas valve on the heater. We're looking at your flue pipe, ensuring that the unit is safe and it's not leaking carbon monoxide. We're looking at your blower motor, making sure that the voltage is appropriate. And we're making sure it's safe to use. We're checking the gas level, and we're making sure that your firebox inside isn't cracked. We put a scope camera in, we look for any corrosion, and we want to make sure that that smell when the unit first turns on is actually safe. A lot of times we don't use our heater for a long time. We smell that gas smell right when it kicks on. You want to be careful about that and call a professional to make sure that it's operating under safe conditions. On the air conditioning side, of course, we're checking the refrigerant level, we're checking the amp draw, we're checking your fan motor, we're looking at the indoor coil, making sure that that's all clean. And with air conditioning units, because they condensate, we want to make sure that your condensation line is actually sloped properly. And so everything preventative to make sure that when it is time to run your unit, it's running safely, it's running efficiently, and you don't have to make that phone call during Mother's Day weekend or Labor Day weekend where you're stuck. We want to make sure that we do all of this before you're put in a situation when your hands are behind your back.
Yeah, I totally agree. Today, when you call, and there's not many of these left, for just $19.95 as part of that offer, you're going to get everything that Eli just mentioned, but also the Fleetwell Club membership. So when they become a member, how does that help them throughout the year when they call? They're getting priority?
Absolutely. So our members get 2 free performance tune-ups. One is going to be in the spring, the other is going to be in the fall. Filter replacements on both. Priority scheduling if you have a repair that you have to call us out on, and that's a free appointment. So I'll say it again, they have 1 free appointment for repair any time of that year, and then 2 annual maintenances for fall and then for spring. And during those maintenances, we cover a full 22-point inspection to ensure that the unit's going to be working properly for that season.
Now, I'm not so sure about your club membership. I know that there are other companies that offer this, throughout the country, I guess, throughout the world. I would imagine that if I'm a member of Fleetwell, I'm going to have a little more priority too when I call.
Absolutely. That's going to be either same day scheduling or 24 hours, depending on the time you call. So, for example, you call us on a Friday at 7 o'clock in the evening. We'd love to send out a tech, but that may not be possible. So, it would be the next business day, and our team does work Saturdays. So, we'll get out there and prioritize our members before any new customer.
Fantastic. All right. Hey, another question has come in from Susan, and I like this question because, I don't know if everyone understands how this works, and it may not be true of all thermostats. So listen to this, Eli. This is interesting. Can my thermostat switch between heat and air conditioning automatically? In other words, do I have to put it on heat when I want heat, and then do I have to go over to the thermostat again and put it on AC to get AC, or can I put it on some automatic mode where it automatically switches?
Absolutely. So the Google Nest does have that feature, and it's the heat cool feature to where when it gets to a certain temperature, it's going to cool. And when it gets to a certain temperature, it'll heat. So you do have the option to set it for that.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the ultimate. You're saving a step because our climate here in the greater LA area, especially in the fall and winter, we don't know what we're going to need. We wake up because sometime overnight it went down to 42 degrees. We wake up and we want the heat on, but we want it to be 73. But we also want it to be 73 when we come home from work. So if we set it to 73, we're going to wake up at 73 and we're going to come home and go to bed at 73, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, whenever you can automate something and you know the temperature you like your house to be at, just set it and forget it. That's how I do it in my home. I don't like to think about needing to walk up to the thermostat and turning it on or off every time. I just want it to do its thing whenever it reaches a certain set point.
I absolutely love that. Once again, Eli and his team at Fleetwell can help you out with that. Just give them a call, 213-817-5737. You don't have to call just to get the tune-up today. If you want them to come out and give you a quote on a new air conditioning and heating system, they'll do that. If you have a question about a thermostat, a question about air quality in your home, filters, ductwork, all of that, registers and all that stuff, all the components of the HVAC system, Fleetwell is your qualified team here at Check-A-Pro. 213-817-5737. Jerry, who is my producer, is talking in my ear, and Eli, he says that out of these 10 offers, all 10 have been taken. So this is where I flip Eli upside down and I shake him a bit saying, can you give 2 more of these away? Can we offer 2 more on the program today for the people who are, we'll call them late adopters. They either tuned in late or they held out. So, when you hold out on those deals, you're like, oh my gosh, they are gone. I sure wish I had called. Well, this is that time. Eli, can you do 2 more for a total of 12 today?
Jim, let's go ahead and do it.
Okay.
Let's make our customers happy.
Okay, so only 2 more. The show is drawing to a close in a few minutes. So call now, 213-817-5737. When you call, a customer service representative, a very friendly one, will answer. Tell them that you're listening to Eli and Jim on the Check-A-Pro radio show and that you want the offer for $19.95. They will help you out. Ask if you're the lucky caller because there's only 2 of these left. 213-817-5737. Again, 213-817-5737. If you do not have a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning expert, we all should have one. Some people have personal trainers. They have a dietitian. They may even have their own personal chef. They certainly have a mechanic. You need to have an HVAC guy, and that should be Eli. Hey, Eli, the HVAC guy. I like that. There you go. At Fleetwell, 213-817-5737. 213-817-5737. So as the show draw us to a conclusion, Eli. What have we missed today? We've talked about hot and cold spots, high utility bills, systems not keeping up, being able to go back and forth with the thermostat from the air conditioning to the heat and so forth. What have we missed?
I think we covered just about everything. We spoke about ductwork. We spoke about the units. I really can't think of anything, Jim, unless something comes to your mind.
Yep. And here's the good news, everybody. If we have missed something because you've been listening to the program for the last hour or half hour or 5 minutes and we haven't covered the problem you have, no obligation phone call. Call Eli and his team at Fleetwell, 213-817-5737. They will be able to help you out. I would strongly suggest, regardless of how old your system is or systems are, that you call Eli and his team and have them come out for $19.95. It's just a crazy, crazy price. They will go through your system and they will identify any issues. If you don't have any issues, they'll give you an A+ on the report card and they'll say, hey, there are no issues. If there are, at least you'll know what they are. You can address them then or in the future. And what a lot of my listeners do, and a lot of Eli's customers do, is when issues are identified, they can do them in phases. They can replace the coil now and maybe, I don't know, other parts later. Maybe, get the ductwork replaced in 6 months. All these things to refurbish the system if you want to refurbish your system. In many cases, if your system is 12, 15, 20, 25 years old, which some are, you may want to consider upgrading to something new. And I know that Fleetwell can help you out with easy ways to finance that, if you will. It doesn't have to be an upfront thing. You get this thing done when you need to. 213-817-5737. Eli, I want to thank you, as always, for coming onto the program. You are my go-to HVAC guy here in LA, and I just can't thank you enough for helping me and, of course, my listeners.
Jim, thank you very much. Had a ton of fun with you today, and until next time.
And for everyone else out there listening, until next time, have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the Check a Pro Radio Show. For more information on how to select the right contractor for your project, visit our website, checkaproradioshow.com. Join us again next week at the same time.
Fleetwell Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. License number 1096298. Hey, it's Jim Clouk, a.k.a. Check a Pro Joe here. I have a phenomenal special offer from my good friend Eli, the HVAC guy, over at Fleetwell Heating and Air Conditioning. Right now, Eli and the team at Fleetwell are offering you, my listener, a complete heating and AC tune-up for just $19.95. That's right. You'll save $129 off the regular price. And it gets even better. The first 20 callers will receive a free 1-year membership in Fleetwell's exclusive club. That's a $225 value, absolutely free. You get priority service, discounts, and peace of mind all year long. But you've got to call now. Call Fleetwell Heating and Air Conditioning today, 213-817-5737. That's 213-817-5737. You know this deal won't last long, so pick up the phone and call now, 213-817-5737. Fleetwell Heating and Air, fast, friendly, and always available.